Hi, love. If you are not from America and you have watched a clip of Candace Owens, you would definitely get the conclusion that she's the only sane person in the African or Black American community. In fact, for the longest time, she has said things that harm the Black community in America and outside of America. When the Black Lives Matter movement began, it really went wide across, many continents. And as probably the 17-year-old me was listening to what Black Americans were saying, and what she was saying was completely different. She made attempts to make a whole documentary about how George Floyd died because of overdose, all those type of things, to just invalidate what actually happened, what the world saw. But right now, as this mini trend has become kind of popular on TikTok, where Black people are saying things that they're afraid to say.
Y'all know the trend where it's like something I'm afraid to admit as a Black person? Some of y'all should be afraid to admit it and not say it, because some things people are saying are actually really, really bad.
Okay, so today I'm obviously not on camera, and I'm sure as you can hear from my voice, like my wisdom tooth is acting up. I'm sacrificing a lot for the next couple of days, because if I speak too much, if you've had a wisdom tooth problem, at night it's gonna come back to bite you. So my face is swollen. I'm not looking good. I'm not looking cute to make a video. So basically podcast style today. So I believe this whole thing started when she was fired, allegedly, from the Daily Wire, which is a conservative news website for which she has hosted weekly for a few years. And the co-founder of that is Ben Shapiro. If you don't know him, then yeah, be glad. So I believe the whole gist of why she was fired was of the comments that she made, which were said to be anti-Semitic. I don't know how to actually say the word anti-Semitism. Yes, because she was not siding with Israel, basically, with what's happening in Palestine. I've talked about this. And which is quite funny, because the people on the right love to say that the people on the left are sensitive, all that kind of stuff. But as soon as Candace Owens said something, an opinion that they didn't agree with, she was cut off, she was fired and thrown away, basically. And something that you might not know, Candace Owens was not always a conservative, but she really started her conservative rhetoric since 2017. And she said that she became a conservative overnight after realizing that liberals were actually racists. From there, she became the popular voice of Black conservatives on YouTube and started social media accounts where she posted controversial videos to attract the attention of people like Jesse Waters of Fox News, Alex Jones, who famously spread rumors in 2012, Sandy Hook, all that kind of stuff. And the time I really knew who she was when she wore that t-shirt with Kanye West that said "White Lives Matter." And when I was watching the Breakfast Club interview, she addressed that, and in a very vague way, which sort of minimized what it actually meant to wear that during the time where Black Lives Matter was being talked about. And I'm going to get into that later on. So there was that. And then when Breonna Taylor was unalived, and she started to make statements, I think it was on Twitter, that they were involved with criminal activity, they didn't comply with the commanding officers. They always come out defending the police or the white people who are purposefully unaliving Black people. And her rhetorics about George Floyd, dying because of overdose. When the world saw that video, when the world saw that, the officer's leg was on his neck, everyone saw that. But no, she had to go out and make a documentary, which I think just fizzled because no one's interested in that. Like, dude, like everyone is saying. Everyone could see what happened. But no, she was more interested in proving that, George Floyd was the bad person, that him dying wasn't a result of him being Black and being profiled. Instead, she focused on how Black Lives Matter movement was not a movement she would agree with because of the corruption that goes on. So she keeps on speaking about the numbers of the donations, the money that was, taken away, and really ignoring what Black Lives Matter actually represents. It's more than just an organization. It speaks on Black lives, or emphasizing that our bodies are not dummies to practice on. Black lives matter too. Just as a little white girl that's missing can make an entire nation go up and down searching for that little white girl, but as soon as a black girl goes missing, no one bats an eye because her life doesn't matter. And Black Lives Matter is simply saying that, no, in as much as everyone else's lives matters, like that's obviously a fact, we are now emphasizing on Black people based on these certain things that have happened in the past that have made Black lives not matter. Like, it's a very easy concept to understand. I remember hearing about Black Lives Matter because it really impacted like a lot of places, because a lot of people like to just say, oh, Americans are obsessed about race and all that kind of stuff, but that is because they talk about it, where in other countries people don't see color, they don't talk about it, so it almost like it doesn't exist, where it actually does. Like, things happen in other places as well, and Black Lives Matter really like impacted, people started to question certain things, and a friend of mine really explained it to me. She was very woke during that time, which I wasn't really. She said that Black Lives Matter, like, because I was like, why can't all lives matter? Because I've seen that, her with that white t-shirt, which means that many other people saw it who are ignorant, who are not going to ask any questions about it, right? We're just going to be like, yeah, why not white lives matter, but it's like, no, but we focus on Black lives right now, the minority, the people that are actually going through this. So my friend said that it's kind of like cancer. There's cancer awareness rallies every time, right? We always see that, the pink and all that kind of stuff. But does it mean that people with other diseases don't matter or don't exist or cease to get medication because there are rallies about cancer? No, but it's to bring awareness to that specific disease that needs, more attention to. But it's not erasing any other disease. Like any other person can still go to the hospital and get cured. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you don't understand this basic concept, then I really don't know how to help you. And also when it comes to the whole like, yeah, but like the Black lives, because I've seen that people debunking the Black Lives movement or the Black Lives Matter in general, because yeah, but then they were stealing money or there's corruption and all that kind of stuff. This is the analogy that I would like to give you to sort of understand what I'm trying to say, what people are trying to say when they say Black Lives Matter and stand on it. Instead of focusing on the numbers that don't add up, who is that benefiting? If you are focusing on that, who is that benefiting? Like, I see it as someone who hears that there is a charity that helps homeless people and it actually makes a difference, right? Then that certain someone finds out that there's a corruption thing within that charity, which is a more logical response that helps the homeless people, putting them first, right? Making a campaign, spending thousands of dollars, making a documentary on the corruption in that charity and just making it about the corruption in the charity and charities in general, or making it your entire personality, basically. Steering people away from the issues of hopelessness, but for you to be the one that has caught the corruption and for you to be put on a pedestal. Or to put all that effort into the actual cause of trying to help the actual homeless people and quietly sifting out the corruptionness and not making a huge scandal on why people shouldn't trust charities in general or feel sorry for homeless people. I would say the second. Because in as much as, yes, there's corruption happening, this and this and that, but for an average Black person walking around, their lives matter. That is what this whole thing is about. I'm so sorry for that rant. Let's actually get into some things that I actually wanted to talk about.
Candace Owens has mastered the art of intellectual manipulation. So that Breakfast Club interview with Candace Owens was a hot mess. And I see a lot of y'all blaming Charlamagne, Jess, Envy, or whatever, saying that they should have asked better questions or what have you. But it's not their fault. And here's why. I was having a conversation with someone about this interview, and I wanted to name the behavior that I saw her exhibit. The term that I came up with is intellectual manipulation. Candace Owens has mastered the art of intellectual manipulation. That is where she's able to talk about increments of truth. She will take statistics or, findings from certain articles, research, or whatever. She'll be able to present that, but also pairing it with things that are illogical fallacies, presenting it with injurious and harmful information that reinforces racism. Well, if you have someone who's arguing against white supremacy, or arguing that white supremacy doesn't exist, arguing that racism doesn't exist in the black community or what have you, and pairing it with these increments of truths and breadcrumbing truths like that, of course you're going to have individuals who might be intimidated and feel like, I can't challenge that because what she's saying is actually facts. When someone pairs an illogical fallacy with some truth, it makes it a lot more difficult to reject that. I really want to know what y'all think in the comments though.
So in that first lady's video in the blue jacket, I saw some people in the comments saying but explain it, give an example. And I thought I found the perfect example for this, where it's I
think I have finally changed my mind. I actually now agree with the sentiment that America is the most racist country in the world. We are. It's abundantly obvious. We are the most racist country in the world toward white people. I've never seen this much animus toward any race in my entire life. And this recent story about a hospital Karen really proves how disgusting we have become as a nation and how ashamed we should feel that people are not standing up for the way that white people are being treated. If you are a white person, people will defy common sense and logic and deem you guilty in any situation. This is the reason why people take out their cameras instantly. Even if black people do something to offend a white person, they will then take out their cameras and record the white person responding in the right way, in the right capacity, with the right emotion, and be like, you're a Karen. Oh my God, a white person aggressing us once again, which makes entirely no sense when you examine the facts, obviously. When you examine the homicide rate in America by race and you break it down, you realize that Black Americans are overrepresented in the category of violent crimes and in homicide.
Candace has this really cunning way of speaking, where she uses these big words, the statistics, all that kind of stuff, where to the average person listening going by, they will just automatically take her word as true because they don't fully understand what she's saying. Or they take whatever she's saying as face value. They're not taking any nuances or anything into consideration, all that kind of stuff. So she has said in this video, the idea of reverse racism always sounds logical to people that don't read, people that have never spent a day outside of where they live, or that have never met actual people that go through racism. That's basically, that's what I think. In fact, sometimes I think it's because the word racism has been used so many times, people have lost kind of the meaning of it. Something as discrimination or sexism can be just seen as racist because people don't really understand what the word is. Just to some people, it just means not liking someone, where it's actually deeper than that. The concept of reverse racism is often debated and can be misunderstood. Racism generally refers to discrimination, prejudice, and antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. However, many argue that this term is not accurate because racism, by definition, involves systematic power dynamics and historically rooted oppression. That is the keynote there. The systemic power dynamic and historically rooted oppression. So you have to ask yourself before you call someone out to be racist, if you are not someone that is part of a minority group, is your history of your people rooted in oppression? You have to ask yourself that. In social and academic discourse, discrimination against the majority group is often seen as prejudice or discrimination, but it's not racism in the traditional sense because racism involves a broader power structure that historically have privileged certain racial group over others. Therefore, while discrimination can occur against any group, racism specifically refers to discrimination by those in power against marginalized or minority groups. That is where the explanation of what she just said, that's how you can debunk what she just said, of which people wouldn't be able to really explain that well, There's a difference between discrimination and racism. If I, a black person, say to a white person, you can't be in the space because this is for black people to feel comfortable to speak about their own struggles, you can't then say you are being racist, or like, am I oppressing you by not being invited to a place where Black people feel safe to speak about what your ancestors or currently do now to oppress my kind? I feel, please tell me at this right moment, like, do you feel me? Like, just say I feel you. So when I say that Candace is so good and is so cunning with her wording, this is what I mean. So Candace was also good at the fallacies. Like, the fallacies like the ad hominem or that kind of stuff. So one of her best, I think, is appeal to ignorance. That is when an argument must be true if it cannot be proven false, or false if it cannot be proven true. Because many of us don't read or do our own research many of the times. When someone comes up and says something that they know you're probably not going to have the time to go double check, then you probably, oh, my cat is so cute. Oh, then you're going to believe that it's true or it's false, stuff like that. Like, because she knows that the people that are watching her are really gonna take her word for it, because she is the Black spokesperson that they believe, speaks for the Black people. They're not gonna double check anything that she says. And as the world just becomes more illiterate and unable to read in between the lines or use critical thinking because of social media, I have talked about this in a video essay about like iPad kids and all that kind of stuff, that our kids and even us, like, I find myself like this as well, where I'm like, I can't comprehend what this person is saying because of just because of how I'm attaining information. Every time when I'm doing research, I find myself just listening to people instead of actually opening up like actual articles or actual definitions, but just wanting to hear someone say it. And every time someone says something, they're always going to have a certain bias. So anyway, I just got off topic with that. Because people are lazier to research and to form their own opinions, when you are a person of intellect and have, degrees and all that kind of stuff, people are more inclined to listen to you and think that what you're saying is true, to succeed at misleading people. And I'm also not saying that everything that she's ever said is untrue, because a broken clock, I think someone said this in the comments while I was reading, like, a broken clock is right 2 times a day, of which when I was doing some of this, watching her videos, like, sometimes she'll be saying like real facts. It's like, okay, you are correct on this, but I'm not going to ignore the other things that you've said that are just completely incorrect. So, like, because she specifically like invalidates people's experiences by telling people that they're emotional, which I really don't like, because racism or like, things that happen to the minorities, they are emotional. There are things that stroke your emotional, that's not even a word, like, there are things that really struck a chord in you that make you emotional, because it is personal. It's a personal attack. So she always invalidates people's experiences, people who don't know how to articulate their experiences or give facts to prove that these things actually happen to them. So them not knowing how to articulate it with facts and statistics doesn't mean that what they went through is untrue. I always hear her talk about numbers and data, which seems logical, but it always lacks nuance. In almost every minority issue, general data is never like an actual reflection of reality. Her reality as a Black woman who is privileged into, like, she's married to this white rich guy from Britain, I think, something like that. So she's not really living the average life of a Black person who I believe can live in more dangerous areas, who faces oppression like straight on, versus someone like her who's in probably a nice house. She doesn't face racism. I put that in quotation marks. So therefore her views is more skewed. She wants to see the numbers because she can't believe that this person is living in this America when she herself lives in another complete different America, which I think ties in with the whole Jay-Z thing, where I was talking about, capitalism directly impacts Black people, but because he's not the average Black person, his experiences are different, but he just can't fathom, the fact that other Black people are being oppressed by capitalism. So talking about the things I'm not afraid to say as a Black person trend that's on TikTok. First, I believe people can change. Like, in as much as I said this, like, I'm saying this again, there's no hate towards Candace person being a woman or being black. Like, that would not be tolerated, because some people will see this video and want to be like, oh, want to agree with me by bashing her as a woman or as a black person. Be like, yeah, this is why. Like, no. And I believe that people can change, because this is what we are actually talking about, how she's slowly worming herself into the black community, as I've seen her on different platforms about different platforms, black platforms where the majority of people are black that are going to be watching. So it's almost like kind of getting on the right side, and that has sparked people saying that, oh, I actually kind of agree with her on certain things, this and this and that. And her being on this platform like the Breakfast Club, like, you should really just watch it yourself. It's pretty interesting. But you know, this is what this guy had to say. I have to just play here. He pretty much sums it up.
Bruh, I want to stop. I really want to get away from this Candace Owens topic. But as my comments continue to fill and people continue to stitch my fucking video, giving their ignorant ass takes on why they agree with Candace Owens and why I'm upset because I'm just mad she with a white man. I'm just mad that she says people marry with their IQ, and that it's so fucking irritating because it's all black people. And that's the part that irritates the fucking shit out of me. That this is why black folk can't never get nowhere. We don't stand on shit. Y'all want to preach accountability, but refuse to hold this woman accountable for the shit she's done and fucking said. That's the part that blows my mind. Y'all want to be contrarians and against the grain so bad to make it seem like you know what the hell you talking about. So bad that you're different from the other Negroes, that you're not one of the bad ones, so bad that y'all would literally prop this woman up to sound like y'all are intelligent and y'all are smarter than the other Negroes in the field. A lady just stitched my shit. And obviously, of course, she married to a white man, and she heard in her head, oh, you're just mad because she's with a white man and y'all don't like. Then that's what I mean by the dog whistle words, bruh. That's what I mean by it's gonna like, she's media trained. She knows how to use her words and manipulate folk and oh my God. And then all of a sudden, like, the conservative Trumplican black people have come and found this video and they riding the wave. And it's like, we so gone, bruh. And it's not about people having different views or opinions, man. At some point, we gotta we can't always chop everything up to, well, that's their opinion. Well, that everyone's entitled. No, a lot of stuff y'all say and do is just wrong. It's wrong. Everybody's opinion don't gotta be validated, bro. Some folks just say some dumb shit, and that's what we need. Some people are just gone, and we need to chop it up as those people are just gone. Candace Owens started out as a liberal. Is a very liberal. Then she switched and I told y'all she wants a ticket to a political position. And she's gonna ride. Her husband is a rich white British CEO. For y'all to sit here and say, oh, well, she's always said this. No, because if you look at her history, she used the NAACP to win her lawsuit in high school and then turn around and then start talking shit about the NAACP. Like, she has always switched up to whatever side is going to get her to whatever political position she thinks she deserves. Even the fucking girl that just stitched my video, married to the white dude. Oh, well, she's right. Because start asking these folks to elaborate. Start getting them to talk and speak what they actually think internally about the stuff that they say they agree with. Then you'll start being able to poke holes into their shit. Because she was like, well, the statistics show that people do marry closer to their IQ. The statistics also show that people marry are more racially loyal in marriage. But y'all won't believe that statistic. They also show that people also marry more social and economic in closeness, marry closer to their social and economic status also. But we gonna point out IQ. So why would she throw IQ out there? And then mention black men? Like, bro, that's what I'm saying. Y'all, a lot of people don't have critical thinking skills. That's period, point blank. They can't read in between the lines and understand what people are trying to imply, insinuate, and get to underneath and the subliminal messages that they want to throw out there when they actually speak and say things. She also says, this is the same woman that said y'all very same black women that are defending her, that she would second guess and wouldn't believe that you could be a fucking pilot. Or other positions where white men typically dominate in, that if she saw your black ass in that same position, she would question if you were qualified or not, or you were just a DEI hire. But y'all want to defend her. She's so right, though, right? The same woman that said Ahmaud Arbery was just jogging in his neighborhood. Nobody jogs in khaki shorts. What was he doing in that unbuilt home? What, he was in there trying to steal something. She always equates that black man to a criminal. The same thing with George Floyd. She basically said he deserved to die because he was a drug-using criminal. Yeah. But we gonna ignore all of that because Candace Owens is right, because she said don't be ratchet and date with your IQ. But she don't never speak. Her homeboy Trump, ain't he a criminal? All these Wall Street men that take advantage and avoid taxes and do all this bullshit, she'll never highlight them as criminals. She'll never talk about them. She had all this sympathy and understanding for Palestine and the systemic things that affect people in Palestine and Israel. But she don't have no understanding or no sympathy for the black folk that are oppressed in the system of white supremacy in America. She said on an interview when she was talking about George Floyd that America doesn't have racism because Joe Biden stood next to a black president that was elected twice. So there's no way America could be racist in modern time. This is the shit y'all support. This is the shit that y'all want to forget simply because she get on here and she talk about black women can. That's why y'all agree with her. That's why most of y'all agree with her, because y'all think she not talking about y'all. Y'all think if that woman walked past you, I promise you, she probably wouldn't even sniff your black ass way. Because you are not on her level. As far as economic, bruh, I swear. But I hope, that's going to be my last, I said that last night, this is going to be my last video about Candace Owens. But y'all be pissing me off. Y'all be pissing me off, bruh. Y'all so goddamn ignorant, and it can't be helped. Candace Owens just sounds smart to niggas who was dumb.
Candace Owens appeals to certain folks' desire to succeed in the system without changing the system itself. She's almost like the human personification of that confessions that I'm afraid to have as a black person, and it's just pure, unmitigated anti-blackness. In many ways, she's the furthest expression of distancing yourself from other black people to let institutions of power know that you're not like the other Negroes. But anyone who studied this nation's history knows that even the black folks who helped out the white master on the plantation got discarded as soon as they were no longer useful. Just like Candace Owens and any other person who tries to differentiate themselves from other black people gets discarded when they're no longer useful to a particular system of power. So instead of idolizing her as a free thinker, we need to recognize her and people like her for what they are. Pick-me's for white supremacy.
So basically, yeah, I think he pretty much like explained everything. Her rhetoric now is like Black America needs to wake up and not be distracted about race. But at the same time, race is a factor for the average Black person. Like it is. Like 90% of their day, being a minority, like they are seen as a threat. Like it's an actual thing. Like in as much as you think it's a distraction, in as much as there's some truth to that, it doesn't dismiss the fact that there are actual Black people that are going through some things, that should be validated, not dismissed. It's almost like when a Black person has just been surrounded by people that don't look like her, that have befriended her, that she really forgets that they're actual people that are in the pits, right? And now she's trying to invalidate them, but just because she's living a good life where she's not facing some sort of discrimination. Oh, I have talked out. My teeth is feeling like I can feel like half of my face is just falling off. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, in conclusion, Jerry's final thoughts. I would say sis is cunning, and I'm using that word on purpose, cunning. You need to be careful. You need to be careful if you're one of those Black people that say, oh, I finally, I get what she's saying now, you really need to take into consideration who she's been with, who she's been messing around with, and why all of a sudden now she's making sense to you. Why has she not made sense to you before? And also, yes, people do change, but I believe she needs to take accountability for all those things that she has done that have been harmful to the Black community, because she has definitely made a lot of harm. I really can't speak anymore. But yeah, that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you think down below. See you guys next time. Bye.